lot of misconceptions, a lot of false notions that are out there being propagated about Islam and Muslims, and it's based on illogical fallacies, on things concocted by people who have no idea what they're talking about, and some genuine, sincere people who have just been stooped and misinformed. And I want to go ahead and start off with one incident where I was speaking with someone and I was sharing with him many of the commonalities, like first off, how we greet each other. Peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. We're people of peace, spreading peace and purpose. And this is how Jesus greeted his followers with. And talking about the deep love that we have for Jesus. We can't be the anti-Christ if we love Christ. And Christ is Jesus, the Messiah. He was calling people to worship the Creator, not the creation. It's an article, a tenet of our faith. So I'm telling all this to one Christian brother, and he said, well, ISIS likes Jesus too then, right? I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, the KKK likes him too, right? So they have those big Jesus saves, but they don't represent Christianity. And nowadays, what's really propagated in the media and constantly been thrown out there, Daesh, ISIS, as if these people represent Islam. They have a very, they've drifted away. They're killing more Muslims. And what do you end up responding to when you get this question that's out there about this people attributing Islam to people such as these extreme elements that are out there?
So this is a very common question that we get all the time, because this is something that is being shown in the media over and over and over. So the thing is, the thing we tend, the way we tend to answer this question is as follows: if something or somebody does not act like who claim he is, then he's not that person again. For example, if something does not look like a chicken, does not walk like a chicken, does not have the feather like a chicken, then it's not a chicken. So the same thing, if somebody, who does not act like a Muslim, who does not function like a Muslim, who he could claim he's a Muslim, up and down, left to right and center, but if he does not act like a Muslim, then he's not a Muslim. So this is a very something that we tend to make the people realize of. Not everybody who claim he's a Muslim then he's a Muslim. Again, these people are nothing but a small fraction of what Islam and Muslims are. The majority we're talking about here 99% of all Muslims have denied such actions. They said these things does not represent Islam whatsoever. So, and actually the basic principles of the Quran have taught us of something against that, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا, that whoever saves the lives, he has saved the lives of all of humanity. I think the real threat is, yes, definitely these groups are terrorist groups, and you will see many. Actually, the majority of Muslims have denounced these people.
They're actually killing more Muslims.
Yeah, in the ground, who is fighting ISIS? Muslims, who are being killed mainly by ISIS are Muslims. So we are taking most of the casualties, us Muslims. And we are the one who's denouncing them. But even in America, I think we have a much of a bigger threat than ISIS that we claim that exists. For instance, we actually, it was kind of ironic that it was almost 2 weeks ago, it was aired in CNN, in which a show called Under the Shades of America. Yeah. They talked about how many chapters here of KKK we have here in the ground in the United States of America. And they said that in 2004, there was 56 KKK chapters. And in 2016, this year, you have 197 chapters of KKK.
197 chapters of this is the Christian KKK.
Yes.
And obviously they don't represent Christianity. But if they took charge, they'd be lynching everybody who doesn't agree with their version of Christianity.
Not only their own version of Christianity, even different races now.
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody who is not Caucasian, they will be against him. So the thing is, who is considered now a bigger threat? Yes, we denounce these acts that are done by a small, minute minority of Muslims, but on the ground, we have even bigger problems that we need to deal with, and this is something that people need to open their eyes with.
Yeah, a lot of misconceptions here, but there's facts and then there's fictions. If you look at the FBI data reports from 1980 to 2005, 94% of terrorist attacks were by people who didn't ascribe to being Muslim. And then also in Europol, less than around 1%. And when you give these facts, it's not fiction, doesn't make sense now that you have more of a chance of being hit by your furniture, right? Dr. Pape, who is the university professor in Chicago, he's a terrorism expert. He evaluated the cases from 1980 to current times in over 1,000 different cases, and he concluded that Islam had little or nothing to do with these terrorist acts. These are all politically motivated.
In the past few years, there are almost about 350 plus mass shootings in America. Of all of them, they were done. The Muslims who have done mass shooting, of all of the mass shooting, the 350 plus mass shootings, the mass shootings that were done by Muslims are 2 or 3 of all of them. So we have a bigger problem. Why should we focus on the 2 or 3 people of Muslims who have done these things and forget about the people who are carrying guns left and right down the street, and in the schools, in the markets, and shooting at people, regardless of their race or religion?
Yeah. There's Muslims are your friends, not your foes, and the facts are the facts. Fiction is what's being propagated to create fear for a certain agenda. But when you meet your Muslim neighbor, people have went down and spent some time with Muslims. They say these people are the most peaceful, the most hospitable, the most charitable people on the planet. And this is a fact, not fiction. Tell us about the story with the brother who was, was a Trump rally or something, and then again propagating something about ISIS. And what did he respond to him with? Do you remember?
Yeah, he was saying he was telling him how many Muslim scholars nowadays promote ISIS. There is none.
Find me one. He said, find me one credible.
How many Muslim scholars, like real, known, knowledgeable Muslim scholars who promote ISIS? There is none. You're not going to find a single one who says, "Oh, these people are the way to go." None of them. All of them denounce it. All of them have issued edicts or fatwas against these people, in which they said that these people don't represent Islam whatsoever. So, if you want to know about Islam, then you ask a Muslim.
Yeah, and 50 years ago, 40 years ago, there was no such thing as these groups, Al Qaeda and ISIS. They didn't exist. And the Dr. Pape, who's a terrorist expert, again, little or nothing to do with Islam. All of these things are political, which, again, Islam condemns it clearly. And I think anybody who's smart enough, to do some research, to look into it, they will see the same things, that this is fiction, not fact. And there's fantasy, and we got a lot of movies, Hollywood, Bollywood. You always need a bad guy, but Islam is not the bad guy, as though some will try to perceive it to be. Tell us, before we conclude, why many people, they say, well, why don't Muslims, again, this is a lot of these are just silly things that are thrown out there, but you have a big organization here. Has the media ever come to you because they say, where's the Muslim voice? Why has Muslims have not condemned things like this?
I think the Muslims are always been condemning these things, but the question is the media showing how much we are condemning these things? Quite honestly, I think sometimes we Muslims have to take the blame for this, that we have to be out there interacting with the people, showing them what Islam is all about. And this is one of our missions with Ask a Muslim, in which that we want to show the community what a real Muslim would look like. They're not the boogeyman that you would see in the CNN or Fox News. We are real people. We have kids. We love to live. We worship God just like you do. We have families. We have jobs. You see Muslims in all walks of life. You see them as an engineer, as a doctor, as a salesman. Pretty much we are your neighbors. So come talk to us. See what we're all about, and for you to know what the reality of Islam is all about.
Basically, ask a Muslim. Get to know your Muslim. Make the human connection. And don't be fooled by a lot of the fiction that's out there. Come and learn the facts. And we'll see you next time. Until then, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. And don't forget, subscribe right now.